Good morning, Jojo.
Morning.
Good morning, Jojo.
Morning, Larry.
Yeah, okay. Oh.
Larry, good morning. You speak to Max?
I'm waiting to hear back from him. I left him a message and I called, so I'm waiting to hear.
And Oda Yom Gadol, you know.
Right.
Not leave me a message at home, and if not tomorrow, Friday I'm traveling, so
I know.
let's look in Parashat Chukad in the Chumash. Page 840. It's Perek Yutet.
Rabbi Prague,
Yes.
is it a strange, I know the Elecha is strange, but the combination of Vayichu Elecha, is that like a strange construction?
Strange and all the commentators, of course, talk about it.
I mean, in my mind, I was wondering, could it be anything as an opposite of last week's parsha when we had Vayikach Korach?
Yourself.
So the real question is, the Pasuk depicts this code, but the real question is, Moshe is not a Kohen. Parad Uma had nothing to do with him. And the Gemara says, the first para is named after Moshe, the first. The question is by what? Okay, so we'll talk about it later in the week.
And also, how did the Rambam learn that it has to be? He starts off. It says it has to be three years old. How did he learn that?
This is a rule in Korbanot. Para is 3 years old.
Okay.
Heves up to a year, and Ayil by Asham is 2 years old.
Okay.
Look at the Perek Yutet, Pasuk Yudaled. Zot HaTorah, Adam ki yamut be'oel, a person, you have a dead body in a room, kol haba el ha'oel, whoever enters the room, v'chol asher ba'oel, every movable items in the tent, itma shivat yamim. Now, of course, what's unusual in the pasuk is, mazeh Adam, zot HaTorah, kol asher. So look at the Rashi a second, and pasuk Yud Bet. And she says, look at the bottom right.
Where are you now?
Rashi pasuk Yud Gimel.
Yud Gimel. Okay. Thank you.
Bemet benefesh ve'eze met shel nefesh ha'adam leotzi nefesh behema she'ein tumata tzricha hazah. If you touch the corpse of a dead animal, you are becoming contaminated, but only tumat erev, which means if you go to the mikveh right away when the night is over, and you are Kohen, you can eat tumah, you can eat korban. The corpse of an animal in a room doesn't make anyone
It's a
tameh.
daytime Tumah only in this issue.
if a person touches a dead animal and he goes to the mikveh when the day is over, it's over. It's tahor. It's only tumah for that day. But if you are in touch with the dead animal, okay.
The word Adam includes a boy here. Isn't Adam usually a higher level than Ish or whatever?
Eli is raising another point. Maybe Adam is excluding or including, Eli says, a goy. So the Gemara, everyone knows that Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai says that Adam is to exclude a Gentile. So according to Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, if you are in the room with a dead non-Jewish body, you're not becoming tameh. But if you touch, you are becoming tameh. Only oil. Tosafot, yeah, Tosafot. Machloket Tanaim. What's the halacha? We see in the Rambam in a minute. So, but the point Adam is certainly to identify a specific type of. So animal definitely not. How about non-Jewish body? It's a machloket in the Gemara between Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai and Chachamim. So we are going to look now at a very interesting question. What happens if a real great Talmid Chacham is dying? Is he metameh be'oil or not? Whatever you have to say, you can say after the class is over. You're looking at the Gemara. Yeah? Come, you take this. Please look in the Gemara Ketubot. I'm giving you this brachot. This is not good. Take this. Give me this one. Look at Ketubot, Masechet Ketubot, Daf Kuf Gimel Amud Bet.
Kuf Gimel Amud Bet.
The Gemara over there, it's a full page describing when Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, Rabbeinu HaKadosh, died. It's a fascinating Gemara that teaches us many halachot. We are going to focus on.
This is Ketubot 23b.
Ketubot 103b.
100.
Not Chav Gimel. Larry, you can mistakenly think about me whatever you want, but don't say I'm a Chassid. Only by the Chassidim, it's Chof and Kif. Kif and Chof is the same.
I missed the joke, but we're on 103b.
But the joke is by the Chassidim, Chuf and Chaf sounds the same.
Oh.
Chuf Gimel, you are Chiv. I mean, it happens to be in the Daf Yomi. Chassidim, but here I didn't think that what happened.
And we didn't have a clue.
That went right over our heads, Rabbi.
Yeah. Makes all flavors.
So the Gemara here, I mean, it's a fascinating Gemara to spend this minute, but we're not. But the Gemara says, Mishamet Rebbe Bakla Kedusha. Bakla Kedusha. What does the Gemara mean by the words Batla Kedusha? So look at the Tosfot. Batla Kedusha, שהיו קוראים אותו רבנו הקדוש. He was the only one. I mean, of course, his uniqueness was he wrote the Mishnah. He gathered all the Mishnayot, and because he was abundantly wealthy, he had to say always what had to be said, not being afraid of anyone. He had close relationship with the Roman Antoninus. But so when Mishmet Rabbi Batla Kedusha, V'hada Tanya B'shil Sota, the Gemara says at the end of Masechet Sota, Mishamet Rabbi, when Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi died, Batla Anava, Ve'yira. he was exceedingly humble. And he had real yirat shamayim, not the ladies type or our type. יש לומר קדושה בכלל. Fine. Okay, so the first interpretation of Tosfot Mishemet Rebbe Batla Kedusha means this type of a person never existed again. Fine. Our topic is now, again, whatever you have to say, whatever you heard should stay with you, and it's fine, you can repeat it as many times as you want. This is the source. Ba'arav Rabbi Chaim Cohen, this is written 800 years ago, and Tosafot quote one of Baalei Tosfot who was a Kohen. והרב רבי חיים כהן היה אומר, אלמלא הייתי כשנפטר רבנו תם, this great rabbi 800 years ago says, and I've been in France when Rabbeinu Tam, the biggest Talmid Chacham of the generation, died, הייתי מתאמר. A Kohen tells us that had he been at the funeral of Rabbeinu Tam, which is, I'm using an example equal to the Rambam, I would have attended the funeral even though I'm a Kohen. Why? The Hai Batla Kedusha de Kamar, when the Gemara tells us that Rabbeinu HaKadosh died, the Kedusha was cancelled. Hainu Kedushat Keuna, famous Kedush. Is according to him, if you visit, let's say Tiberia, you go to the grave of the Rambam, you can go in. Of course, if it's at the grave of the Rambam, well, that's a different question, but the concept, yes? He says,
there's no two matzahs.
he wants to say that when a man of this magnitude is so kadosh that there's no tumah, and he interprets the Gemara. Batla kehuna means, so for instance, Sunday was the Yortzeit of the Lubavitcher Rebbe.
Yeah.
Right? Tens of thousands came to his grave. According to him, whatever he has, perhaps.
So this all being directed towards the Kohanim, Rabbi? Everything is
Right, according to him, right? According to him, he wants to say
I don't understand where you're trying
that by the grave of very special
big Sadiqim.
you can go in.
So the challenge in general, that rabbi is not buried alone. So going on the way there, they're gonna have proximity with other mitzvahs.
Right.
So that's a challenge.
That's a big problem now.
In
It's
the
a map.
cemetery.
I don't know what the story is, but up in Rabbi, I'm sorry, the name of the town. Tiberias up there. Safat. You can't walk so easily there.
So it's saying, but anyway, we're just the concept we're getting at the concept. Practically
Somebody
speaking,
said
it's
don't
not.
walk.
We are
not
talking
radical.
only on an isolated case. If you have a grave of a tzaddik 100 feet around, there's no one. Yes.
Yeah.
And there is a road leading 4 feet wide, and there are no trees around. We're focusing about
I was
this.
thinking even today, Lord Lenin, somebody loses his father or close relative, and he's a Kohen. If he goes to a cemetery, other graves nearby. How does that work? I mean, there could be.
That's a good one.
It doesn't go. It goes nearby.
No, but
Like
saying
my
on a
father, I'm on the road.
If you really
I'm
want,
on a burial.
I said I'm on the road.
if you want really to look on it, but we need a class for it. Question is like this: you have a morgue, and a person goes, a Kohen goes to his father's funeral, which is mutar. In the morgue happens to be
Others.
two more bodies. Yes.
Right.
In fact,
The
we had a
same
situation
question.
this past Sunday. My wife's aunt passed away, and then the new facility in
New
Ocean Township. Beautiful place. I mean, I hate to say beautiful place.
The dead cannot see it, but at
No,
least
but
the alive can see it's a
auditorium
beautiful
seating,
place.
special room for Kohanim with glass, so you could see.
It's a
you could
good
hear.
business, good business.
So it's all the community did it. But at the end, they announced no Kohen should ever walk in the building, even though when we got there, they said, oh, the body's not in the building, you could, no. They're doing the preparation on the second floor. So he said, no Kohen should enter the building ever.
Show one of the fence. This is how they have it.
So I had a call yesterday, I called the guy, I said, listen.
The fence?
This
We stand on the outside. We don't go near the field.
It's the fence right there.
We have a clear fence, Ron, and I'm on the street. I'm standing in the street.
So they announced yesterday,
So-
they announced on Sunday that no Kohanim should ever go in the building ever.
You know what he said?
Even that said.
Because there might be some, body.
Ronnie even said outside there's that awning right
Yeah.
there. He says we shouldn't stand there either.
I called Daniel yesterday and told him you have to have signs that say
Yeah.
Kohen should not go in the portico either.
Yeah, yeah.
I called there, I said you have to have better signing. He said, I'm
nobody
gonna
knows
go take a look myself. Also, I told him, you go around to the back, there's doors on the way to the
You
back.
talking about the new facility?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's doors on the way to the back that are actually, I opened those
You never
doors.
did it yet? You're very lucky.
I opened the doors on the way, it's the hallway.
Yeah.
Notice, you have to go all the way out to the back, because you have
So
to have
we have-
signs that these are not the doors for
You see
Kohen,
this
go to the
Kohen
back.
challenges there?
No, it's not, you just have to know.
There is one that he just brought up. I mean,
You have to know, I told him fix the signing.
it's not like the 60, what he's telling you is you can never walk in there because it's not like 67th Street. He says there's bodies potentially on the second floor that they're preparing
Preparing
for.
for the
So
next.
he wasn't so sure about the portico, he said,
He
I'm gonna
said
ask
no.
the rabbi.
He said
He
no.
said, I'm gonna ask the rabbi.
Right? The guy who runs the place said you
Can
cannot
can we
stand
go back
So
to
the
the,
funeral home.
can we go back to the
Yeah,
trust fund?
yeah.
Story body. Wow.
Not just doing,
So Rabbeinu Chaim Cohen, who lived in the time of the Tosfot 800 years ago in New York, says, even though I'm a Kohen, I would have attended the funeral of Rabbeinu Tam. The high batla kedusha דקאמר אחא, היינו קדושת כהונה. וכן מוכח, and the proof that this is the right interpretation in Tosfot, מדקאמר, anyway, הלכה למעשה, if you live in the middle or you're looking on your notes and whatever, assume, even by the biggest gadol, but this is what Reb Chaim Cohen says. Some of the Hasidim do it, some in the Babish do it, but in general we'll see why not. וכן מוכח, his proof is, מדקאמר אותו היום. What do you mean? That day, קדושת כהונה בטלה. למה אותו היום? משמע, אותו היום דווקא. ותו לא, this is it. ובהדיא, תוספות ברית הירושלמית ופרובית, במסכת ברכות בפרק מי שמתו, וכשמת רבי אמרו אין כהונה היום. So תוספות bring Rabbi Chaim Cohen, who says that in Yerushalmi, it says openly like him. But you realize, of course, that the danger of this type of statement is, we talk about giants, Rabbeinu Tam, the Rambam, Rashi, or Rebbe. ואין נראה לרבי, תוספות are telling us, no, we disagree with Rabbeinu Chaim Cohen, even though the Yerushalmi says it's mutar, כדמדומה לרבי דעתם, the Gemara says, אין כהונה היום, מה יראה בטומאת בית הפרס דרבנן? Only on טומאה דרבנן. Certain טומאות are טומאות מדרבנן. For instance, if you have a field, and we know that there was a grave there, but it was plowed. So the field is big. With the Rabbanan, the Kohen should not walk. The day the Rebbe died, this was mutar. So here you have in Tosafot a machloket, but this is a big issue for hundreds of years, especially like Hasidim or this. People like to go to. So let's look a second here. You have what? Is Meron considered if there is any place, Meron is one. Kohanim normally don't go to Meron. Yes. But the clerical of Shimon Ben Yochai is
Yeah, outside.
I remember we went to Warsaw, I stayed outside the cemetery. They all went in, I waited, I had to wait till they come out.
No, in also everyone agrees because
There's all kinds of crazy.
we're talking about again 1 in 1,000 years. You have two people that this is the issue refers to it, not to every.
Rabbi, this goes along with the tzaddikim that the body doesn't degrade, right? That's the tum'ah that comes from the body degrading, correct?
Because the point is that there are such holy people that the physical body remains.
How much more so, Rabbi, if we go to Hebron? Can we, I mean, we pray there, there's a shul and the kid and the curve with a kid.
Right. Hebron is a good
So you
example.
want to talk about, you want to talk about tzaddikim, but who's bigger than the Avot?
Right. The same
How does
person.
that work?
The same.
Doesn't-
Again, the answer is N-O.
Doesn't
Finish.
matter.
We are
Concept.
just discussing
Concept,
it and we
concept,
explaining
concept.
why some people are yes. Don't go to Hebron, don't go to the Ari HaKadosh, don't go to, but here, some opinions are saying yes, and some Hasidim do go, some Sephardim. This is why it's an issue, but it's an issue for 1,000 years. Here, you never, when you went to Hebron, they never told you go into the room. Abraham Avinu, stand outside. You have to know big names to understand it. Talk about through the generations, yes? You look a second in Gemara Berachot.
But Rabbi Park, does this have anything to do? You taught us about Kedusha B'Telah, Kedusha Lo B'Telah.
B'Telah or not, it has to do with Kedushat Eretz Israel.
Okay.
Kedushat Beit HaMikdash, Kedushat. Open Gemara Berachot.
Okay.
It's funny you talked about Tumah, Rabbi. Remember the conversation that I had with Rabbi David Feinstein? Can I go in the World Trade Center after, or in the area? Remember what we spoke about? And he
And he
said,
says after 9/11, the question is, was the area around 9/11 contaminated or not?
Wouldn't that be Beis HaPras anyway?
If would be a sur there, would be like Beit HaPras. What it tells you be a sur with Rabbanan.
What's all this stuff? What he said?
he said
Beit
that
HaPras. Use the Talmudic
there's
phrase.
so much
That the field,
that it burned the bones to dust. He said, remember, Rabbi?
Wow.
Also, it's many levels below ground also. It's like dozens of feet below ground, so it's a factor.
Burned it, but there was no bones. It's just dust.
Now look a second in Daf Chavchet Amud Bet, Brachot, Chavchet Amud Bet, everyone heard the Gemarot before. Either you heard it in a regular class, if you learn Brachot, or in Sogdash Shlishi, or the Kabbalah of the two. Daf Chavchet Amud Bet, let's take the Gemara. כשחלה רבי יוחנן בן זכאי, look at my finger. כשחלה, this is in the middle of the white lines. First word in the line is העולם הבא.
I see it. Thank you.
וכשחלה. וכשחלה רבי יוחנן בן זכאי, let's remember who is Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. He was the leader, yes, of the Jewish community when the second temple was destroyed. When the Gemara said that Hillel had 60 students, he was one of them. Keshechala, when the Gemara talks about a person being sick, means he's seriously. Keshechala Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, נכנסו תלמידיו לבקרו. His students came to visit. כיוון שראה אותם, התחיל לבכות. The rabbi started to cry. אמרו לו תלמידיו, נר ישראל, you are the candle, the light of the Jewish community. עמוד הימיני, you are the strong pillar. התיש החזק, מפני מה אתה בוכה? what are you crying? אמר להם, this is very famous. אילו לפני מלך בשר ודם היו מוליכים אותי. If I would face a regular court, שהיום כאן ומחר בקבר. Every judge, every court, every jury is temporary. שאם כועס עליי, if he gets angry at me, this judge, אין כעסו כעס עולם, it's not forever. ואם אוסרני, אין איסורו איסור עולם, even if he jails me, it's not forever. ואם אמיתני, if he kills me, אין מיתתו מיתת עולם. ואני יכול לפייסו בדברים, I can give a good speech and try to comfort him, or ולשחדו, as always I can bribe him. אבל בכן הייתי בוכה, ועכשיו שמוליכים אותי לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, now I'm facing the real court, שהוא חי וקיים לעולם ומעולמים. This is forever. שאם כועס עליי, כעסו כעס עולם, if he's unhappy with me, ואיני יכול לפייסו בדברים, I cannot bribe him, so to say, with words, not with money. ולא עוד, not only that, אלא שיש לפניי שני דרכים. אחת של גן עדן ואחת של גיהנום. Try to imagine going to visit Rabbi Feinstein, and he is giving you that, yes? שני דרכים, אחת של גן עדן, ואיני יודע באיזה מוליכים אותי ולא אבכה. How can I not cry? Okay, so normally the explanation is only great people like him who basically judge themselves in a very critical way can say it. Why is he adding, after he's telling us I'm facing the court, I have two ways, Gan Eden and Gehenna. Did he think he's going to get along? Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai made a very, very brave decision. When he came out, he snuck out of Jerusalem to meet the Roman ruler, yes? And he told him, okay, ask whatever you want. So he told him, tell me Yavne v'chachamea, this city of Yavne. And one of the rabbis told him, why didn't you ask, save us today? You could have saved Jerusalem. And of course, the reason he did it was because he thought to ask too much. The answer is no. Yavne v'chachamea means the Sanhedrin, all the great rabbis. Fine. Now imagine he's saying to himself now, when I come to the heavenly court, they might tell me, this was your decision. This was the wrong decision. Which means that the outcome of the destruction of the temple.
By the way, Rabbi, was it the wrong decision? I never got a comment on that. I was always curious. What?
No, it was the right decision, and the proof is that this was his decision. This was his decision.
He made the decision, it was the right decision.
Yeah, I'll give you just an example. If a sincerely religious person would be asked by somebody, do you think you married the right wife for 50 years? And it's a little stupid to ask, because if I'm married for 50 years, obviously this was meant to be. See, we like to think, and I know there's nothing. This is what you have, obviously this is yours.
This is correct.
Was it right of Adam HaRishon to eat from the apple tree? The answer is no. Was it right? Yes, because the world was created to live 6,000 years after eating the apple. So he's saying, but by me, I don't know if my decision was the right one. And if it was wrong, basically what he's saying is to each one of us, and us, everyone, we have private, we say bracha b'kavanah or not, do I say brachot or not, do I kol or not? Then we make decisions that is affecting other people. Decisions who are affecting other people. The famous case, a fellow that was known to be a good teacher for young kids, came to see the Chafetz Chaim, and he heard his name, he said, I don't want to talk to him. This is very unusual. Anyway, finally he told him, you were the kid in your class. Yes? But obviously misbehaved, and you kicked him out. He became
Trotsky.
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 And you realize what he told him, you are responsible for 3 million Russian Jews becoming. So, which means that
Told the rabbi responsible for Trotsky.
which means, so it's me and you mailed by our kids, it's me and you by people in the shul, it's me and you on. This is what Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai is saying. Hey, you face a regular court. So everyone has his own. Then decisions that if you remember, he told us once, Jimmy, that his uncle didn't come to shul for 22 years.
Yeah.
Because he sat in the wrong place, and someone
They drove him.
22. So this man,
22 years. That's
so this man, this is on his account. You understand? Very often the way we speak to our neighbors, to kids, to others. So this is what he's saying. Anyway, this is the Sudash Rishit part of the Gemara. Look further.
it's all said. So Rabbi, I know a friend of mine, whatever. He doesn't come to shul for a different reason. He doesn't come to shul, doesn't pray every day because he's angry at Hashem. What do you tell a guy like this? I don't know how to answer. I don't even know how to
The answer is he's not getting your answer. He didn't say anything.
You're saying for him.
But another note, which I mentioned to you, when I first started in business, a vendor used to come to me, and he came in, and he was a Jewish guy. I was not sure Shabbat. And I remember we used to talk, we used to schmooze. And he lost everyone in the Holocaust. And he didn't want to know from anything. He didn't want to know from anything.
Yeah.
And it stuck him, but you understand, it drilled a hole in my mind. It's a 50-year-old story. 50 years, I remember him standing there telling me this.
By doing it, he's helping his relatives who perished. Wouldn't he?
No,
When he ate a cheeseburger on Yom Kippur, so he's punching God. Chamor. But anyway, no one is judging him. Yeah.
cannot judge a man. We can't, you told us you can't judge a man like that. He's a mesquite.
This is Seudah Shlishi type of talk. The reality is, but what are you achieving by not keeping Shabbat? What? How are you helping your relatives? By what? So you live like a goy. So therefore, what? The answer is deep inside. The man was very angry. So he's in his own way. He felt that he's punching God. Okay,
It's sad.
it is sad. This is the point. Because it's very sad. Here, I read once. It's a good story. It happens to be a good story. Teenage kid who volunteered here in Baltimore in the summer to go every Sunday to a nursing home. Old people did that. Basically, he used to go every morning from room to room, like to go play shachrit, have a minyan. So most people either said yes or no. One man used to say no.
Yes.
So one time he was begging the guy. He says, "We have 9. Maybe you could just come." And the guy gave it to him.
This is Baltimore.
It's one of these
Yeah,
nursing
senior
homes,
living.
one of these stories that you anyway. He comes to the guy and he says to him, "I understand that you don't want. I'm a teenager, an American teenager. What are you yelling at me? What are you yelling at me? You can say no. What are you saying?"
Why are you yelling?
Anyway, the guy felt very bad. He says, "Sit down, young man." He says, "I grew up in a religious family. Me and my father went to one of these camps, German camps. And one day my father says to me, today you'll become a bar mitzvah." I know that someone in another bunk has tefillin, so today you become a mitzvah. I would like you to put tefillin, and my father snuck out. I mean, obviously put his life in danger. And I see my father coming in glowing. Right before he entered, the German guy saw him and killed him on the spot. Killed my father. So he says, I picked up the tefillin anyway, but since then I cannot, and he shows him here, opens the door.
Associate the tefillin with the
This
trash.
is the tefillin, the kids, and he says, the kid says, I understand, but the kid was very smart. The kid says to him, but today we have only 9.
Right.
Maybe you could just come, don't play, just come to me. He agreed, and the kid says, I don't know why, but he figured, since he has the tefillin anyway, may as well. Maybe today I'll help you out. Anyway, he helps you put the tefillin, and after Shachrit, he comes to take it off, and you see the man is crying. The man says to him, look how foolish I was. My father died.
He didn't.
To get me tefillin, and thank you. No, it was 50 years. Thank you very much to help me. Since that day, started to put but it's everyone understands that you can be angry a year or 2, but come to your senses.
And which
When I was in Majdanek once with a group of kids from Flatbush, it's very moving. You have to be there. The camp is on the way it was with them. Anyway, so Sephardi kid Mizrahi says to me, Rabbi, how can people remain religious after this experience?
A Sephardi boy asking about the Holocaust.
Yeah, we were there. Anyway, so the tour of one of the people who came along, this is 30 years ago, was a Holocaust survivor. So I told him, why don't you ask him? Introduce him to the survivor. And I said, this kid is a wonderful kid. So he's asking him, how did you remain religious? You know what he told me? I didn't. He says, when the Holocaust was over, in the DP camp, this was exactly what I mean. I see it. he says, all my friends started to pray, put tefillin, I mean, the American. He says, I said, no matter what, I'm not. And people came to me, Father was religious. And he says, no, where are they? Anyway, my friends never gave up on me, and I teach them away. One day, listen good, he says to the king, as a matter of fact, he says, I took my siddur on every page, I tore and okay, this is
Anger.
children stuff out of anger. Anyway, one day when a good friend came to ask me, maybe today, another says to him, don't try him anymore. He wants to help Hitler to finish the job. The minute he said it, I said, give me the tefillin, and then on I came back.
Yeah.
Hitler, if Hitler would be today, would not make gesture,
Very happy with you.
would just give money to
Very
money.
happy.
We'll give people to the next
Wow.
mayor of New York. He would go to Colombia, give money to Colombia. There's no need today to have concentration camps. Don't teach Judaic studies. So but this is the point. It's okay to be angry a year or two or this, that. Come back to yourself.
No, but you once told us a story about the barracks. There's one person in Siddur, and he took everybody's slice of bread.
And okay, this is written in every place. It's again, it's the way you look. It's the way you look at the way you look on the situation. Some people definitely took advantage of it. Bob Wagner was a very famous case of this in the 50s.
Rabbi?
A fellow, listen to this. This is a Jewish business, the ugliest, but the cover. A fellow, so a man stole from the bakery there, whatever. Says, I'm starving. Can you give me? He says, I know that you smuggled the big diamond. Give me the diamond, I'll give you the bread. He had no choice. He gave it to him. Believe it or not, they both survived. And Bob takes him to a rabbinic court and he says, I gave you $100,000 Jew
Slice of bread.
for a slice for a loaf of bread. So what do you think the court said? He doesn't have to give him a credit.
Didn't it?
Good sale.
He doesn't have-
Transaction.
He says,
He told you up front.
not only
60, you can't charge more than
not
16.
not only that. In Auschwitz, money is bread, not a diamond is bread. Life, hear this? Everything has a value, yes. Your grandmother's picture for you is 100,000. For me, it's an old lady, it's nothing. Oh, but can you imagine a guy says to him, give me the diamond? Give me a piece of land. And that's, here you have to say, of course I cannot charge you. The answer is everyone came in. Let's go back to the Gemara. Yeah, you is going to bring us up.
Still in the.
Back to the Gemara. Anyway, the rabbi is crying. Listen to this. Amru lo Rabbeinu Baruchenu. Give us a blessing. Amar lahem yehi ratzon. This is not a baba of today, when he's charging you money. Yehi ratzon shetei mora shamayim alechem k'mora basar alam. I wish you that your fear from Shamayim would be as we are.
Just lower the temperature. Oh.
90% of the stuff that we do, Ben Adam Lamakom and Ben Adam Lechavoro, is based on what other people are looking at us. It says, I bless you that your respect and fear to Hashem should be as much as to find. Amrulo, Talmidav, at come, this is it. Amar lem velevai, I wish. תדעו, כשאדם עובר עבירה, אומר שלא יראי אדם. When you do something wrong, you're really afraid. Okay, this is the story, of course. The reason why we're looking at the Gemara is this line now. Please remember that we saw in Tosfot in Ketubot that Rab Chaim Cohen said that a grave or a body of a real righteous man, again, not our generation, not 200 years ago, not Babot, not Kabbalistic. That's what I mean. Listen what the rabbi, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, was the greatest in his generation. בשעת פטירתו אמר להם, פנו כלים מפני הטומאה. Remove all the vessels from the house because I'm about to die and they'll become tameh. If Reb Chaim Cohen is right, And the body of a holy man does not make anyone to be. Why is it telling them to take out the rayat suma against, of course? The second remark, he says, והכינו כיסא לחזקיהו מלך יהודה שבא. Can you imagine? Prepare a chair. Chizkiyahu, hundreds of years ago, died. Is coming to accompany me to Olam Haba.
Why Hiskiyahu?
Yeah, why Chizkiyahu? What was his fear? His fear was, why didn't I ask the Roman Empire, the Roman Emperor, to save the Jews? Why did I choose Torah instead of Chizkiyahu, who spread Torah more than anyone?
He's a pride fighter.
But 60 years ago, there was a Rosh Shiva to Abadat. His name was, in a minute I'll tell you the name.
The first one?
You never have that. Anyway, he didn't have children. All his life, Rabbi Akiva Eger was by him the greatest rabbi. There are two students. One was, his name is Pinter, the other one I forgot, who attended him for weeks and weeks as he was sick. He was unconscious. 2 minutes before he died, he opened his eyes and he says, let's bring two chairs. One for Rabbi Akiva Eger, one is Shlomo Hayman.
Yes, yeah.
Everyone that learns Torah, Gemara, Be'emet, has a sefer Rabbi. This is 67. You bring two chairs. One to Akiva Eger, one is. So we said, this raya is a raya atzuma. Bring you another raya. So basically, remember the Gemara that we saw is based on interpretation. Batla, Kedusha means Kedushat Kauna. Here I'm looking in the Sefer of Rabbi Weiss, he brings a Midrash, Mishlei, listen to this. מעשה היה ברבי עקיבא, שהיה חבוש בבית האסורים, רבי עקיבא was jailed. רבי יהושע גרסי, and his student is attending to him. ערב יום כיפור, נפטר ממנו והלך לביתו. The student said goodbye and he went home. בא אליהו ועמד על פתח ביתו. אליהו says to the student, בא אליהו ועמד ואמר לו, כהן אני, ובאתי להגיד לך שרבי עקיבא מת בבית האסורים. Rabbi Akiva says, I'm going to tell you, already, I am a Kohen, says Eliyahu, but you have to go right back to the body. Listen to this. הלכו שניהם לבית האסורים, put Rabbi Akiva on a stretcher, ויצאו. As they go out, Eliyahu Hanavi is also helping them carry the body.
And the Talmid is a Kohen?
Eliyahu is a Kohen. כשראה רבי יהושע כך אמר לו לאליהו, רבי, אבל אמרת לי אמש שכהן, לא היה כהן. וכהן אסור. He says to the student, אין טומאה בתלמידי חכמים. אין טומאה בתלמידי חכמים. So everyone that talks about the topic and says that Kever of a tzaddik is basically condemned. This is an open. אבל באמת, there's no time. Maybe tomorrow, probably tomorrow. Another topic. Because I thought saying about Metzia, he did not give him the real answer. The real answer is, was Rabbi Akiva dying alone in a Roman jail is a met mitzvah. And the met mitzvah, even Kohen Gadol Yom Kippur. So Yahweh Navi says, here's Rabbi Akiva. We have to pick up the body and we have to take him. So.
Why couldn't Eliyahu Hanavi get somebody else?
Because it was in an area,
a remote area where it was.
His student was attending to Rabbi Akiva every day.
Yeah.
That day, so only two people carry the body. Anyway, the Rambam here, then we can finish with the Rambam. The Rambam says beferush that it is metameh, yes.
So a Hatzalah member who has to attend somebody in a fatal accident, he has a problem if he's a Kohen.
Yeah, but he doesn't have any problem. When Hatzalah is being called, the man is not dead.
Yeah.
The minute let's say you have 5 Asara members, one is a community, this guy says, I think he's here.
Step away.
Steps out. But he's obligated to attend because look at the Rambam.
He's the only one on the scene, he has to attend, he has to attend.
If he's the only one, he's the only one.
Then it would be like a make mitzvah if he's the only
It's
one.
not. Look at the Rambam, Sefer Shoftim Ilchot Aver.
You take, for example, somebody is a doctor, he's a
And I'm
he's on
sorry,
a plane,
shouldn't be a
somebody has a heart attack, he's gonna attend to him. And if the person doesn't make it, he's, and a person.
Okay, no, there's no time, I'll just tell them the Rambam says that when the king or leader is dying, everyone is obligated. Larry, if you have, look at it. Ilchot Aver, Rambam.
Boy king or a Jewish?
Ilchot Aver, Gimel Achadot. He's talking about the Jewish king. A Jewish king means a real Jewish king, not when politics plays it. So they say the reason why when Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi died, even the Kohanim were attending is because Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi was the
That
leader,
level.
the unelected leader of the Jewish
As
people.
if-
This
as
is why
if-
all the Kohanim.
As if a man.
So it's a kavod of Rabbi, not kavod because he was Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi, which was a good reason anyway, but
The rabbi told us, capital no, N-O.
the halacha lema'aseh is and no, everyone says Chacham Ovadia before and after. I'm saying it's so strong is because some people do it, I'm sure in your life. So a mix of lunatics who are, okay, it's again,
Rabbi, where the Gemara go? They stay here, they
yeah,
go.
we can take the words there.
Are we taking a parallel for this, even the people who walk on Bet Mikdash area?
What?
Are we gonna learn a parallel here for people who walk on Bet?
Everyone agrees with no one.
Rabbi, where's this from? This one.
But that's just not
I
Kohanim, that's
found it
everybody.
here to someone,
I said yes, but it's a similar parallel.
it's a similar
I
idea,
remember,
but
Rabbi, we went on the, and watched a living trip, our own personal trip. There was this area there, one of the concentration camps, they told us not to stand there because there was, baby bodies buried under there.
right, and this, when we
They told us
took
to stand
kids,
away.
right, they told us to stand away because the football
Yeah, it was like a burial site
For
with a
100,000
mass grave.
100,000, I mean,
Where was this one?
600,000.
One of the
right.
concentration camps I went to.
Yeah, right, they're telling Kohanim not to
And
be
they
there.
told us stand away because it's a place where there was a
Correct,
mass grave.
correct. You take this tour, you take this tour.
It was, yeah, it was
This is part of our Shas.
I remember when I've got this camp, they showed us there, we were in the camp and just over the fence was swings where the commandant of the concentration camp was there with his family and living like a regular life.
This is Maidan, Maidan. It's Maidan.
They made a movie about it. They made a movie.